I thought I'd switch it up today and do a get ready with me while we talk about the importance of delegation as an entrepreneur and business owner. I am a UGC creator, creative strategist, and I also have UGC Pro, which is a resource business for UGC creators, video editors, and creative strategists. I've been in the space for over 10 years and I am so embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to share this with you because I want you to learn from me. Do as I say, don't do as I do. It took me 10 years up until 2025. January to be exact, to actually begin outsourcing some of the work that was just taking up mental capacity and actually taking me away from the important tasks that I should have been doing more of. I had only been able to use this mirror a few times before realizing that it was cracked, and I'm genuinely curious how many years of bad luck that means that I'm going to have. Hello. So I saw this on TikTok Shop, and it's less cool than it actually is, but it's basically a blanket that just sprawls out and is your makeup bag. I mean, it's kind of cool, kind of not. I'm AUDHD, so texture is a really big thing for me. I either like it or I don't. And I like the gray material, then I like the brown material, but I'm not crazy about either, if I'm being completely honest. I want to say this was $15, so it was worth a try. If I end up not liking it, I'll just wash it and give it away to one of our community students. If you didn't know, we just launched the UGC Pro community in partnership with Lemise Barnett. So we're basically marrying what is the creative side, myself, with Lemise Barnett, who is a fractional CMO, former head of marketing at Mute 6, and has been able to generate over $5 billion for her clients over the course of her career. And one of the many perks of being in our community, outside of the 4 guaranteed live Q&A sessions every single month, which span between 60 and 90 minutes a time, and getting those one-on-one office hours with me and Lemise, is that I am always doing giveaways for our community members. I'm talking hundreds of dollars worth, if not thousands of dollars worth of PR products. And the way that you're entered into the drawings is by simply being and remaining a member. In the description, I've linked the landing page so you can learn more about our 2 membership options. We have the standard and the premium, 2 tiers, 1 community. And right now we're running a founding member promo where you'll get 35% off for life when you subscribe now versus later post promo. And you'll basically be paying 35% more every single month that you're a part of the community. All right, and without further ado, let's get started with Merit's The Minimalist. It's their perfecting complexion stick. I should know this because I did do a collab with Merit back in, what was it, pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday 2022 or 2023? I can't remember. But I ended up creating 2 ads for them, and one of those ads was launched on TikTok, and it became their second top performing ad for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It was so good that I was able to upsell them on another package where I ended up making the ad that was for Black Friday, Cyber Monday an evergreen version, which simply just means I removed any Black Friday, Cyber Monday verbiage. That way then they could run that ad year round and continue to make money off of it. This is one of the many hacks that I share in our community and in our video courses as someone that's been in the industry now for 10 plus years. I have definitely figured out creative ways to be able to basically upcharge my clients. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy. I forget what it's called. Well, I know the number, A506, and I got this from TikTok Shop. It's basically meant to replace what is a beauty blender, and I'm actually a big fan. You just have to remember to obviously wash your brushes, which I'm really bad at. Anyways, I wanted to get back on topic and talk about delegating and outsourcing and how it has nothing to do about doing less, and it actually has everything to do with doing more of what actually matters as a business owner. And I hate to break it to you, but if you're doing everything yourself, you're probably doing too much of the wrong stuff. And I say that with love, and I say that based on anecdotal experience as someone that did not want to let go of any responsibility. One thing I had to unlearn is just because I can do everything doesn't mean that I should be doing everything myself. This is from Makeup Mafia Weddings. Her name is Christine. She's a makeup artist in Bend, and she has her own makeup line. She actually spent most of her career in LA working on really big sets and doing hair and makeup for really big shoots. And she has really nice bronzer and blush that I really love, and concealer and lip gloss. Anyways, just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you should be doing everything. I think the first step is acknowledging the fear as to why you as a business owner don't want to let go of these responsibilities. And this was a real conversation I had to have with myself and also with Shane, my business partner and my life partner, because because he's really good at just being like, oh, someone else should just do this. And for me, I'm just like, well, I'm a perfectionist. I'm pretty sure it stems from my ADHD, but regardless, like, because I'm a perfectionist, I've always been notorious when it came to not wanting to let go of responsibility. And something that I've been really working on in 2025 is staying true to the motto, perfect is the enemy of good enough. Ironically enough, that quote came from a founder of an agency that I worked for back in 2021, and he was not a great dude. Him and the founder were indirectly being extremely sexist. Me and my partner Shane worked there together as creative strategists, and he had been making $5,000 more than me the entire time, but I didn't think twice about it because they had hired me first, and then I referred Shane, and then they hired him. And even though we had the same role, like, they were a startup, so like they hired me at a certain rate when they could afford, and then when it was time to hire Shane, they hired him at a rate that they could afford, which just so happened to be $5,000 more than me. Well, when it came to our annual review, over those 12 months, I'd been managing all the tier 1 clients, which if you don't know what a tier 1 client is, it's like the highest spending clients. And like the way that an agency model typically works is like agencies running your ads receive like between like 10 and 20% of the ad spend. Sometimes there are different deals that are like set up, but ultimately it's like, okay, well, if I'm managing all the tier 1 clients that are spending the most money, I am single-handedly the person that is managing the highest revenue drivers. Whereas Shane was managing and openly said, he was like, I'm only managing the like tier 3 clients. They're so much less important. And Kelly's also operating as an associate creative director to the creative director who had no business being in that position other than the fact that he was a man in his 40s. I stand by that because I was cleaning up his mess the entire time. Anyways, so when it came to our annual review, they offered me $1,000 less than Shane. But I still quote this founder because that is one good thing that I got from that experience. We ended up leaving the agency, and he's been working at a different agency ever since. He loves it, and I have since worked at and for many different brands and agencies, and obviously now work for myself. The thing about me, if you haven't noticed already, because of my neurodivergence, I feel like I'm just like a yapper by nature. So I apologize if I go off on a tangent and tell you a complete side story that was unrelated to the main topic, like how we're talking about delegation. I was quoting a founder from an agency that I worked for, perfect is the enemy of good enough, and then basically just told you my life story as to why that agency sucks. This is the concealer from Makeup Mafia. Again, the founder's name is Christine. I don't know if she ships, but 10 out of 10 love her makeup and would much rather support a small business when given the chance. Another downfall of my ADHD is now I forget where I was going with that whole tangent. Oh yes, like when it comes to like outsourcing, like one of my biggest downfalls was like perfectionism, and I'm really trying to live by the motto of perfect is the enemy of good enough, meaning just do it, just keep moving, just launch and pivot accordingly. You'll figure it out along the way. And if I'm not doing it, someone else less qualified is likely going to do it. Which brings me back to acknowledging the fears as to why we don't want to let go of the responsibilities and delegate, which in return would actually help us in the long run. This can be due to the fear of letting go, the fear that no one else will do it right, the fear of spending money before you're ready. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, the question that I've had to ask myself is, what is it costing you to do everything yourself? For me, simply put, it was my sanity. Because I was choosing not to outsource and delegate, I was working around the clock on tasks that I had no business working on. This is one of my previous clients, Space Camp Wellness. I am a huge fan of their lip balms. I have never finished a chapstick on my own, and I have now gone through multiples of them, and I worked with them, I want to say May of last year. So it's a huge accomplishment, especially when I have like 12 of these laid out around the house. Another neurodivergent hack that I have is like, I keep one of my chapsticks here, I keep one on my bedside, I keep one on the coffee table downstairs, I keep one by the sink in the bathroom, I keep one in the car, I keep one in my purse, and they're all from Space Camp Wellness, so really big fan. And then this is like literally a Kylie Cosmetics eyeshadow palette that she did a collab with Kourtney Kardashian. You literally can't even see the branding on it. It's so old. I got it back in like 2018 because the person that I was working for at the time, he was getting a ton of PR and was literally just throwing out the makeup. They literally would be like, go throw this out, like down the trash chute. Literally, how is this even remotely acceptable? So anyways, I would take some of the makeup home because I would much rather make use of it or give it away to someone than toss it. A wild concept to some people, apparently. And yes, I'm using this eyeshadow palette as my highlighter. My friend Alana at the creators event that I went to in New York City, Create Hers, hosted by Mia and Haley, I was was one of their guest speakers. And as soon as I was done speaking, Alana came up to me and she was like, Kelly, your highlighter was popping. What do you use? I was like, girl, an eyeshadow palette from 2018. Fast forward to 2025. That was like 7 years ago. And this is my highlighter hack. I digress. Let's get back on track. So what exactly are the trade-offs when it comes to doing everything yourself? Every task that you hold on to that someone else could handle is time that you're not spending on high-level strategy, on revenue generating work, on rest and recovery, which is fueling really good business decisions and just bettering your future self in general. I fear I may have overdid the highlight, but it's fine. One thing that I've learned is that opportunity cost is so real. When you say yes to everything, in a way, you're saying no to growth in certain aspects of your personal life, your business, and whatever other parts of your life that you're working on and care about and want to prioritize as a business owner, but just like don't have time to do that because you're managing literally everything. One thing that I've like really been trying to focus on are my strengths. So like one thing I want you to do is to define what is your zone of genius. It's time to have a real talk with yourself right now. Ask yourself, what are the things that you can truly only do yourself that hiring a VA or employee would not be able to do? Those are the things that you should clearly be focusing on, which goes back to the 3 things that we just talked about that you should be focusing on: high-level strategy, revenue generating work, rest and recovery to be able to keep things moving down the line. You're only human and you need time to rest and recover. And that return is going to fuel better business decisions. I'm realizing I'm literally just putting on eyeshadow at this point just to talk. All right, what next? Oh, I got this from TikTok Shop. Big fan. It is the Fenty Beauty eyeliner in the chrome catcher. So I'll probably do this. However, I'm realizing I also had grabbed the Fake Awake, which I also got from TikTok Shop. It's from Tarte and it's like the nude eyeliner that goes on your waterline to make you look more awake. I guess I could technically do the Fake Awake on my waterline and then I could do the Fenty Beauty Chrome as like an upper eyeliner, but I'm not planning to do mascara, so I'm gonna do the Fake Awake instead of the Fenty Beauty Chrome, even though this is like absolutely stunning. I'm not gonna do it justice, but I don't know if you can even see it. It's gorgeous. It looks green, and then when you move it, it looks purplish pink. It's so pretty. No, we will do Fake Awake. So once you've figured out the things that only you can truly do yourself, you need to think about now the things that are draining you, the things that you delay, the things that you actively avoid. These are the things that you should be delegating first. And this makes me think of a conversation that we actually had with one of our students in the masterclass that we launched back in February, which I will also link in the description for anyone that's interested. This would be the 3rd video course that you would take in order for the UGC Pro video courses. We have 3 of them. So you would take UGC University, then the intro, and then the masterclass. But so one of our students during our live Q&A sessions had asked, Kelly, like, I'm ready to delegate. I'm so exhausted. Like, what should I do? What should I delegate first? And now that I think about it, I had such unconscious competence in the sense of like, I gave her this advice at the time before even doing research on the correct way to delegate, which I have been referencing as my like outline for this video. And at the time I had reaffirmed to her that the goal is not to outsource everything. The goal is to protect your creative energy because unfortunately we only have so much of that to dip into. We only have 24 hours in the day, and this student that had asked this, she's a mother, so she even has less hours to be able to get her work done. Side note, this is the Morphe X Meredith Duxbury eyebrow gel. This is my first time using it, so I'm excited to test it out in real time. I already have my brows gelled, but I want to perfect them right now. Probably one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to outsourcing is thinking automatically that it's going to be so expensive. Like, I just hired a VA for the first time, and my biggest concern was budget, just because I obviously can afford a VA, but I just was like concerned about just like wasting money. My girl math is, okay, well, if I'm going to spend this money, it better be worthwhile, because if not, I could be spending this money elsewhere. And so what I decided to do was I started small, which is going to be the advice that I'm going to give for you guys to follow now. Start small. You could hire a VA for for 5 or 10 hours a week. I started with 10, and the person that I'm paying is like $20 or $25 per hour. And it's been honestly amazing to be able to have someone take on the menial labor that I was so disinterested in working on. It has given me so much more mental capacity to work on those higher level tasks. So again, start small, hire a VA at 5 or 10 hours a week. You should also use AI tools when you're doing like admin work or say like working on a first draft. In this case, it would be for like a UGC concept or overarching creative strategy. If you aren't using UGC Buddy already, I highly recommend you look up ugcbuddy.com right this instant. It's an AI agent that we created. I'm plugging it because it works, and it's been used over like 20,000 times by UGC creators and creative strategists and has been sworn by all the respected creators in the space. Let's just say it's so popular that we caught Motion, like the analytics tools, and we may or may not be coming out with an AI agent in collaboration with Motion, and it may or may not be a super special version of UGC Buddy, but I'm gonna leave that there. I will talk more about this when I am able to. Okay, so I got this on Amazon. I've been trying to fill in my brows more. People on the internet are so mean, and they're like, you shave your brows, you need to stop doing that. I'm like, bro, I don't have any hair follicles to actually properly grow them in. You're just now being rude. So I've been working really hard at trying to do this so I can stop getting mean comments on the internet, because I am only but a person and I can only take so much hate. And unfortunately, I do care about what other people think. Even the people on TikTok that don't have a profile picture and are like, wow, you shave your brows, it looks so bad. Anyways, I'm just practicing, I'm trying. I promise we will get through this discussion. So starting small, focus on, 5 to 10 hours a week with a VA, utilizing AI resources like UGC Buddy to do like first drafts and also research or admin, and then hiring freelancers for things like editing, design, and research, or admin, or really anything that is, again, bogging you down that you don't want to work on. I'm gonna need like 2 seconds to be able to focus on this because there is no way that I'm gonna be able to do this on camera candidly. It's just so annoying how just like finicky it is to use. And now it's like extra dark here. It's just hard. And it's so annoying when there's like a beauty trend taking place and then all of a sudden people start just like making fun of you on the internet for the new thing that everyone's talking about. For example, back in like 2018, 2019, it was 5-head and people were so mean. Like, your girl who has syncope that is like terrified of like anything related to medical was like, how do I do a scalp transplant? Because all these bitches were so mean in the comments. Obviously, I'm really glad that I didn't do that because I shouldn't have to change myself for other people, especially for like a flash in the pan when it comes to beauty trends. But anyways, that is my little tangent. So ultimately, when you're thinking about this type of support, you don't need a team. Obviously, if you have the money for it, that's like another conversation, but you don't need a team. You just need targeted support. And I need help because my brows look a little iffy right now. This is not good. Okay, you guys are gonna have to tell me what you think. And this entire conversation is revolving around the fact that when you delegate, you open yourself up to more opportunities. When you have less menial labor and you're outsourcing it, you have more time and energy and just like an emotional capacity to take these things on. You have space for bigger deals, higher paying strategy work, thought leadership. I've been dedicating time to doing this on LinkedIn. I've really been enjoying it. And before I did not have time or energy or motivation to do it, but now I do because I have been outsourcing some of those tasks that were just like draining me and holding me back from being able to work on things that I really wanted to work on. It also opens you up to better client relationships, new income streams. When you delegate those $25 or $20 tasks to a VA, it is ultimately opening you up to higher paying opportunities. Like, yes, you are paying $25 per hour upfront for a VA or whatever you might be paying, but ultimately over time, it is going to help you get paid more as that UGC creator, creative strategist, video editor, or business owner. So I'm just gonna pull the things that I haven't used yet. I'm realizing I forgot to use my Peter Thomas Roth, but it's okay because I already had moisturizer on my face, and even though this has 45 SPF, I am gonna use my Morphe setting spray once I'm done with everything. I got this from one of the swag bags at the Creators event. I want to say this one was from the Miami event. I've been to all of them. I'm not sure if I'm the only creator that has gone to every single one of their events, but I'm definitely one of the few. That also reminds me, I'm on the Creator Confidential team, which is an event hosted in Toronto, and we just recently announced when the save the date is, and that is going to be July 19th, 2025. Whether you had the chance to go last year, or you wished you had and experienced major FOMO, this second event is going to blow the first event out of the water. First and foremost, we are like doubling the attendance. There's going to be 200 plus creators from all over the country and all over the continent, maybe even all over the world, attending this event. I've also linked it in the description so you can go ahead and reserve your spot on the wait list, because we're going to sell out in a matter of weeks as soon as we launch those tickets. So I also got this one from TikTok Shop. It came in a duo. So this is the lip liner, and then it came with like, it looks like a jumbo sized lip liner, but it was actually more so like lipstick, but it had the consistency of lip liner in the sense that it would not move. And it came in this like duo pack that reminded me a lot of the Kylie lip kit, but this one was only $10 and it came with that other piece. All right, back on topic. Probably the most important mindset shift that I made this year is that delegation equals growth. Letting go is actually a skill and not a weakness, which reminds me of the quote, perfect is the enemy of good enough. And when you trust others, you are essentially building leadership and systems that are able to scale with you as you grow. I hate to break it to you, but you are just not going to be able to grow to the scale that you're working towards without delegating. It's just not possible to control every single detail and grow the way that you're hoping to grow. Oh no, this brow does not look great. I'll fix it later. Just don't make fun of me. I don't know why I have my lash curler, because I don't plan on using any mascara. However, I guess it doesn't hurt to do a nice little curl. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now I do have a challenge for you guys that have made it to the end of this video, and it's something that is not going to necessarily come easy, but I really want you guys to avoid the mistakes and roadblocks that I have essentially created for myself as a business owner, delegation being one of them. Like the fact that it took me 10 years to get to the point in my business where I was like, okay, I'm ready to delegate is honestly so concerning, because imagine where I could be right now in life and in my business and like success if I had delegated my first like 3 years in. Everything happens for a reason, and this reason is to tell you not to make the same mistake. Do as I say and not do as I do. So this is actually House Labs. I got it in 2021 when I was doing UGC for them at the agency that I worked at with those two founders. To this day, this is one of my favorite lip shines. It is meant to change based on your pH, but like obviously I put on lip liner, so that's not going to be the case. It is at the point of like no return. It is discolored. You can tell that like the color is at the bottom, and I still love it and I still use it to this day. And then I'm going to try out the Morphe SPF 30 Broad Spectrum Sun Setter Setting Spray. And this is my first time trying it out. I like the smell. It doesn't smell like the gross typical setting spray with SPF smell. I didn't like how aggressive it came out. Next time I'll have to hold it further away, I think. And then I really did love this until it broke, whatever. Okay, so in closing, I want to leave you with a challenge. What is one task that you can delegate today? Something that someone else could handle, and it will not be the end of the world if they don't do it the exact way that you would have done it. I want you to work on this week over week. Delegate one thing every single week, and after 4, 5, 6 weeks of doing this, I want you to reflect and see how much more time you have as a business owner to work on those more important tasks that are essentially generating revenue. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. I post every single Monday at 9 a.m. PST and every Friday at 12 p.m. PST. We have 3 video courses that I kind of alluded to in this video, so check them out in the description along with our community, and we have promo codes for every single one of those resources. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.